later. Michelle.
Ollie, thanks very much indeed. Ollie Foster. And that's it from us for now. We'll be back with more from the newsroom at 10 o'clock tonight on BBC One. Now, though, time for the news wherever you are. Goodbye.
Welcome to Wales Today, live tonight from Vicarage Field in the shadow of the National Library here in Aberystwyth. A very good evening to you. It's day 3 of the torch relay here in Wales, and up to 10,000 people are expected here for the big celebration. I can tell you people are still streaming here right now. We're expecting the torch at around 6:45, but I've just been told within the last few moments it's running around a quarter of an hour late. That's because of the sheer amount of people on the streets today wanting to see that Olympic flame. Now, this will be the culmination of what's been another epic day. The torch started its journey in Swansea just before 7 o'clock this morning, then headed west to Llanelli, then to Bury Port, Kidwelly, Carmarthen, Haverfordwest, Fishguard, Cardigan, racking up the miles here, and it's heading its way to Aberystwyth. Abigail Neal now on the story so far today.
It was a sunny welcome from Bracelet Bay in the Mumbles, as 16-year-old Corey Thomas became the first torchbearer on day 3.
Everyone has come out to just see this torch, and the feeling is amazing.
A feeling clearly echoed by this fan, who treated bearer Steve McClelland to her own version of the torch kiss. After a brief stop at Oystermouth Castle, it was on from Swansea and into Llanelli, where Karen Burrows ran her torch along Station Road, cheered on by her family who nominated her.
16 years ago, I lost my little girl to cancer, and ever since my daughter died, once a year we do something to raise money for charity, and we either fundraise for cancer research, my daughter died of cancer, or we fundraise for the NSPCC, because I work for the NSPCC.
Through Bury Port, and cancer survivor Daryl Gittins was keen to show the crowds that a prosthetic leg wasn't going to hold him back. And if crowds of around 10,000 welcomed the flame through Carmarthen, that seemed modest by the time it reached Pembrokeshire, where they swelled to double that.
Well, running a few minutes behind schedule, Mary-Lee Phillips from Narberth, who was nominated for her work raising money for a cystic fibrosis charity, has safely delivered the flame for a pit stop here in Haverfordwest. The convoy will stop for an hour to refuel before heading on to Fishguard and up into Ceredigion later today. By the time the last torchbearer lights the cauldron in Aberystwyth tonight, the flame would have travelled almost 140 miles.
It's just so surreal. You're not thinking about anything else. It's just thinking about holding this torch and smiling.
Even the Metropolitan Police accompanying the relay were getting into the Welsh spirit as they made their way from west to mid-Wales, cheered on by crowds that grew ever deeper as the flame snaked its way up the coast and on towards Aberystwyth, where, as in Swansea last night, the end of the day cauldron will be lit and the celebrations begin.
Let's talk to Bryn Evans now. Bryn, you're in charge of a whole army of young sports ambassadors, trying to get young people involved in sport. How much of a boost is this event to your efforts?
It's huge. I mean, we have an army, well, like you say, 20 young ambassadors based within the schools. Their role is quite simply to encourage their peers, younger children within the school, to get active in sport, physical activity. And the activities range from, be it dodgeball, mountain biking, hockey, climbing, surfing, making use of the surroundings we have here and facilities they have within the schools, and the staff and the parents that are happy to help run those sessions.
There's plenty of excitement here today. Before I return on a cold, damp October morning, how much excitement will there be then? You talked about legacy before. Do you really think that the Olympics will have a lasting legacy in places like Aberystwyth?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. The thing for us is it's been 4 years in planning, behind the scenes within the schools, raising awareness for the Olympics, whether it be the values, whether it be the participation. Our focus now is on 2014 and what comes ahead with the Glasgow Commonwealth Games, the Rugby World Cup, obviously just over the border in England, and that is our focus from today and from the Games this summer.
Bryn Evans, thank you very much indeed. Now we'll leave you now for the rest of the day's news with Sachin Krishnan.
Thomas, thank you. Good evening. A driver has been bailed after being arrested on suspicion of causing death by dangerous driving. It follows a crash on Friday evening in Bala in Gwynedd, in which a woman in her 20s died. In the last few minutes, the Ospreys have won the Pro 12 title. The retiring Shane Williams scored a late try, converted by Dan Biggar, to beat European champions Leinster by just a single point.
In scorching sunshine, the Ospreys entered the cauldron of the Royal Dublin Showground. They hoped to put the heat on the European champions on their own patch. Dan Biggar kicked the Ospreys into an early lead, but Leinster then pounced on the first big mistake by the visitors as hooker Sean Cronin crossed for the first try. Another Biggar penalty reduced the deficit to just a single point, but direct from the resulting kick-off, Leinster's Fijian winger Issa Nathewa outjumped everyone to give them an 8-point half-time lead. The Ospreys' response was brilliant. Centre Ashley Beck bursting onto a short pass and out-sprinting the defence to close it to a single point. Leinster edged away again with 2 more penalties, but Shane Williams in his last club match somehow squeezed down the touchline to keep it close. But Leinster, it seems, always had an answer. Nathewa spinning under tackles for his second try. The Ospreys entered the last 5 minutes 6 points behind. How fitting then that Shane Williams should produce one last piece of brilliance to leave Dan Biggar a conversion to win the Pro 12 title 31-30.
What a finish. Time for the weather now. Hello, Sue.
Satch, thanks very much. Well, the weather's played its part for the first couple of days of the torch relay in Wales, and it should stay largely fine tomorrow. A mild night to come. Any early mist should soon burn away. And then for the start of the torch relay in Aberystwyth, it's sunny, getting warmer as the relay moves up Cardigan Bay and around the Llŷn Peninsula. Maybe a little more cloud as it arrives in Bangor later tomorrow. And that's the pattern across the rest of Wales and the UK. A fine start, more cloud developing through the day. The heat could trigger the odd shower, but for most it should stay dry. Temperatures down a couple of degrees on recent days. So not as hot this week, but still warm, although turning cooler and more changeable. Now let's head back to Aberystwyth and Tomos.
Not long to go now, Sue. In around 45 minutes, we're expecting the Olympic flame to arrive here to light the Olympic cauldron, the culmination of another day of the Olympic torch. Tomorrow, of course, we'll start in Aberystwyth and head to Bangor, and we'll be there too for Wales Today at 6:30. Don't forget, much more tonight at 10:15. From all of us here, have a good evening.